How is everyone doing today? It's the Naughty Investor coming at you with a cryptocurrency trading tutorial on Trendlines, how to draw them, what they're used for, highlighting a few different things, and this is a beginner-friendly tutorial. I'm going to crank out a couple more beginner-friendly tutorials before I start to move on to the intermediate stuff. Now, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification icon. It's right near my subscribe button, right near my name in the left-hand corner. And that way you're actually notified. So hit the subscribe button, then hit the bell notification icon to make sure you're actually notified when I upload. That way, when I cover news, when I do ICO reviews, when I do trading videos like this and technical analysis tutorials, that way you're notified when I upload because YouTube is very wonky nowadays. So what are trend lines? What are they used for, and why should you want to be able to use them? So to be simple, trend lines are used to identify a trend in a price. Where's the price going, okay? So that could be bullishness, price going up, bearishness, price going down, or just sideways consolidation, which is price moving sideways and not really going anywhere, accumulation, and so on. So that's why we use trend lines. Now, when you get really into them, you could try and find resistance and support levels. You could use trend lines for those. You could see if a cryptocurrency broke a trend. I like to use my trend lines with moving averages if I'm going to try and identify support and resistance. That way you could use the actual moving averages as well. So there's a lot of different reasons why you would want to use trend lines. So we're looking at Bitcoin, and I'm going to draw a couple trend lines and show you how highlight a few different things. So first thing I want to highlight is a double bottom. A double bottom is bullishness. It means it indicates price going to go up. Now, that doesn't mean it definitely will, right? Because it is possible that it doesn't, and something could occur. It's called a triple bottom. A triple bottom, too, is bullish, and sometimes it happens after a double bottom. So if you see a double bottom and then the price starts to rise, it's very likely that it's going to continue to rise, and we're in a bullish we're in a bullish trend. But it's also possible it goes back down to that level, to that bottom, and we triple bottom, and then we rise. So I do have to clarify that, because I know some people will be like, well, this double bottomed over here, and then the price didn't go all the way up. It fell down again. Triple bottoms are also a thing. You have to use other technical indicators to identify whether or not it's going to be a triple bottom or a double bottom. One of those technical indicators is RSI, Relative Strength Index. I have made several tutorials on RSI that I will link in the description that I think you should watch after that, but I'm not going to get too advanced. I'm just going to show you a double bottom, all right? So here's my trend line, and if you're doing this for yourself, you can have whatever color you want. I use red because I'm on YouTube, because I'm teaching other people. I'm doing some consulting and things like that, and if you are interested in that, check out the Patreon below. But I am using red, and I like to make mine a little bit thicker. You could go to the width over here. I like mine to be thick because I want you guys to see it, and I think it's important, all right? So double bottom, where is it? And before we get into this, I am going to also say this. Trend lines aren't exact sciences. And what I mean by that is it's okay if your trend is a little bit off. Like if your wick goes a little bit above a trend line that you drew, it's not the end of the world. Some people get fussy with that, and I've drawn trend lines that I've used to make money in the past that were a tiny bit off. It doesn't make that big of a difference because there's always a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to trend lines. So if your trend line goes a little, a candle stick goes a little bit above it or a little bit below it, and you're trying to identify a trend, no, that's completely fine. It's not that big of a deal, okay? So right over here is a double bottom, because as you can see, if you look a little bit closer, you can see that there is a little bit of a tail to that candlestick. So we're going to be using that, all right? So I'm going to start off about right here, and we're going to go and draw our trend line, okay? So that's where I see. I'm just trying to line it up as much as I can. There we go. And there we go. So now we have our trend line. Now we could identify the double bottom. So it might be a little bit difficult to see, but there is a little bit of a tail on that candlestick. So that is why I'm using that for the trend line. And again, I just previously said, it's okay if it's a little bit off. It's not a big deal. So we see a bottom right here. We see a bottom right here. This is a bullish trend because it's showing that price gets down to a level and then selling stops. Price comes up, whatever. Price gets down to that level again and selling stops. So that's good news as far as if you're a Bitcoin fan, if you're a Bitcoin holder, if you're hodling Bitcoin, or if you're looking to buy Bitcoin. So that's bullishness because think about it logically. If it gets to a level and selling stops, it goes up, comes back down to that level, selling stops. That level is starting to build support. It's starting to show other investors, hey, that at this level, it's not going to go lower, or it shouldn't go lower. Again, there's always exceptions. So that's why that's bullish, okay? So that level is a little bit under 7,000, between that 7,000, 6,500 range. So that's a double bottom for you, bullishness. Now, the next thing I want to show you is a double top. Okay, now a double top is an interesting one because it's bearish. It's basically the opposite of a double bottom, okay? And again, as you can see, there's the candlestick and then there's that little tail up on the top. So that's what I'm going to be using. Some people go through the entire body. Some people won't use that, but I use it because I don't think trend lines are, I don't think it's wrong to use those with trend lines. So we're going to draw another one. Try and get that as good as possible. Don't go crazy. It doesn't have to be exactly on. All right, so we see it get up to this level of about 12,000 in a double top. So this is bearish because it's showing that after this level, buying stops. That's why it's bearish, because it's showing investors, hey, after this level, we're not getting much support. We're getting nothing but resistance, meaning it's difficult to get after that level. Now, there's different variations of double bottoms. Like, there's so many different ones, and I'm going to make a separate video on that. But this is the basic one. It gets right about to the same level. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. It could be within a 10-15% variable, but just roughly the same. And right at that level, drops back down because there's no buying. There's no buying volume over here, all right? So that's what a double top is. This is what a double bottom is, all right? Now, let's get into the trend line. So I'm going to delete a few of the drawings that I just made, all right? I'm going to delete this. I'm also going to delete that, and I'm going to delete that. But I will keep the trend lines because those I will keep. All right, so now we're gonna get into another trend line. We're gonna be drawing a typical one that you will see if you are trading cryptocurrency. Now, when you're drawing a trend line, some people again go through the middle and whatnot, but I'm gonna be using one on the top. All right, so we're gonna be trying to find resistance levels. All right, so we're gonna be drawing this trend line. Now, when drawing a trend line, you want to get 3-point contact. Okay. What does that mean? Basically, you want your trend line to at least touch 3 times. Now, if it only touches 2 times, is it still a trend line? Yes, it just doesn't have as much weight to it. What if it touches 4 times? If it touches 4 times, that's better. That means your trend is stronger. 5 times, stronger. 7 times, stronger. So if you have a trend line with like 7 touches on it, that's a very strong trend and is likely to continue. Okay, so that's one way to look at it. The more touches, the better. The touches don't have to be exactly on, again, within that 10 to 15% variable, but roughly, yes, they should be with, if you're really trying to force the trend, it's likely not a trend. You see how I drew this one? Nice and smoothly. So, you kind of see a little bit of a triangle, and we're going to go into triangles in a separate video. Because I want to really just keep this basic and simple and beginner friendly. So this is a downward trend with Bitcoin, right? So you keep seeing Bitcoin come up to these levels and drop back down. So this is a downward trend. This is a bearish trend. Price is going down, bearishness. If this trend was going up, it'd be bullishness because that's the opposite of bearishness. Now, is this a bullish trend? Well, yes. Why is it bullish? Well, because it's a trend break. The trend itself isn't bullish. The trend itself is bearish. But you see over here, this breaks the trend. we've broken the trend. So that's how you identify, that's how you use trend lines. Right now, Bitcoin and the entire market has been relatively bullish. People have been excited. A lot of great developments with Bitcoin, Lightning Network. So much more money's coming into the market. Cryptocurrency capitalization bottomed out at about 250 billion. Now we're up to almost 400 billion. I think when we're at 500 billion, we'll be in a true bull market and we'll be making so much money, it'd be crazy. And traders, hodlers, long-term investors, all will be making a lot of money. So you could see that we broke the trend. Now, if this was the opposite and we had an upward trend and then that broke, that could also that would indicate the opposite of this, right? It's common sense type thing. So as you can see, just to summarize, double bottom right over here. Okay, all this is double bottom. We have a double top over here. Okay, we have a bearish trend line, but we have a bullish breakout. All right, so that's just a summary of it. That's how Bitcoin's doing. That's how you could use trend lines when trading cryptocurrency. Trend lines, I like trend lines more for longer term things, finding entry points. Combine it with a few moving averages, combine it with RSI, and you can actually have a decent strategy going forward. I wouldn't use trend lines too much for day trading, maybe swing trading, but I like trend lines for finding good entry points. That's just generally what I use them for when I'm doing my trades. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share the video. It helps me out so much, guys. It really, really does. And I will see you in the next one. Peace out.